In this video, we will explain a book that is considered the father of all books that talked about money and talked about how to start your way to wealth from scratch. This book is over 80 years old and is for people who just want to get rich. Explanation of the book Think and Grow Rich by the great writer Napoleon Hill in this video. I think it will be a useful video in every sense of the word. So you need a great cup of coffee or your favorite beverage. And let's have fun. Welcome, dear follower, to the Rich Books channel. We're coffee, music and book. The idea of the channel is that I read a book and give you a benefit. If you want to benefit from reading without what you read, subscribe to the channel. At the beginning of the video, let me ask you a question. What is the first step you take to build a house? You can say engineering plan, plot of land, workers, money, etc. But all of these ideas are wrong. Napoleon Hill gave us the correct answer, and the first step to building a house is the idea. The title of the book is Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill did not choose the title of this book for nothing. An idea is the first step you take to wealth, dear follower. Once I knew this answer, I was really surprised by the answer. It was very intuitive, but it just didn't occur to me. He said that everything you see in your life started with an idea. The house you live in has several floors, and it started with an idea. The creation of a car that radically changed our lives began with an idea. Building skyscrapers started with an idea. The plane started with an idea. Everything in this life started with an idea. Therefore, it is very clear that wealth begins with an idea. By the way, this is not new, as we mentioned in the Rich Dad and Poor Dad book series, which is considered the best-selling book in history, talking about the subject of personal money. He told you the first thing that wealth is thought, and poverty is thought, and in order to become rich you have to transform your thoughts into the thoughts of a rich person, and you must start thinking about money and thinking about how to make money. Create wealth. The first chapter of Napoleon Hill's book was called The Power of an Idea, and in it he was trying to prove to you that an idea has a very strange power, and the most powerful thing about an idea is that it turns into reality. This is dangerous, dear follower. Any idea in your mind can be turned into a tangible reality. If we go back to 1,000 years ago, there is no human being who could imagine that he would get on a plane and move from one place to another. Nobody believes that this topic is real. But strength in an idea can turn it into reality. And I tell you something, your life that you are living today may have been caused by your current thoughts. Let me ask you a question about the shirt you're wearing. Where did the shirt color or pattern come from? It came from the place around you and is the physical embodiment of the thoughts you had in your mind. Background was in mind. You drive with that in mind. The major you chose, studied and graduated from was in your mind. The lifestyle that you live, my dear follower friend, is often the embodiment of everything that was in your mind. By the way, you see, this is the law of attraction. The law of attraction in a nutshell is telling you that the thoughts in your mind will turn into reality. So try as much as possible to build positive thoughts in your mind with the thoughts you want. This is the law of attraction in a nutshell. It is a logical and intuitive law that does not contain any innovation. In order to be rich, Napoleon Hill says at the beginning of the book, your mind must be saturated with thoughts of wealth. You must see that everything around you is money. The topic ended with this intellectual perspective. You will become rich if you turn these ideas into reality. And that is the point of Napoleon Hill's book in perfect summary. Focus in this book on how to create an idea and turn the idea into reality. I will present it to you in the form of steps that we will discuss in the next few minutes, but always remember that everything in your life will start with an idea. Edwin Parr was the one who had the idea to be Thomas Edison's partner. Edwin Parr was no one in the truest sense of the word, and had all sorts of hurdles to reach out to Thomas Edison in order to offer him the partnership. Edwin Parr did not have the financial capacity to get to the city where Thomas Edison was. Moreover, he met inventor Thomas Edison. But this is where the power of thought comes from. Mr. Edwin boarded a freight train to get to the city where Thomas Edison was. When he got there, he had already met Thomas Edison and offered to work for him. Hear what Thomas Edison told him talking about Edwin Parr, and that standing there in front of me was like a homeless person. From his appearance it was evident that he was vulgar, but there was something in the expression on his face, a young man who had the impression that he was determined to obtain what he sought. He says, I saw in him that he is a man who wants to achieve exactly what he wants. And whatever it takes. And I've learned from my years of experience with people, Thomas says, that when a person truly desires something they're willing to sacrifice their entire future to get, they will inevitably succeed. He says, I knew if I saw someone who was determined to get a certain thing, even if it cost their entire future, they would achieve it and get it. So I gave him the opportunity he wanted because I saw that he was willing to persevere in order to succeed. And it really happened after that and assured me that I was not wrong. Thomas Edison saw a completely homeless person, but he saw in him a very strong determination to achieve the thing he wanted and turn his idea into reality, which is why Edison agreed to this person's request. So Napoleon Hill tells you that he hired him and continued as an ordinary employee, although the goal was to be a partner with Thomas Edison, but he was waiting for an opportunity by which he could stand out and achieve this thing. Napoleon tells you that opportunity, as usual, came to him strangely. Like many people, he doesn't know how to take a chance, and that part of the book is so beautiful. He says that opportunities come around us often, but their shape is so strange that a person does not know that it is an opportunity. Opportunity may come to you in the form of temporary defeat, or opportunity may come to you in the form of a certain experience, or opportunity may come to you in the form of misfortune, illness, or something else. Dear follower, this is why many of us get chances, but just can't see them. He says, but Edwin Barr noticed that the opportunity came to him 4 years later in the form of a product designed and invented by Thomas Edison. Unfortunately, the sales team failed to sell this product. It failed so miserably that they used to say, we are wasting our time and effort and this product is a failure and will never work. Edwin Barr saw this thread and said, now this is my chance. So he took the products and started marketing and selling them. And it really sold and succeeded so well that it caught Edison's attention and he was very impressed. This was the gateway through which he became partner of Thomas Edison. It was an idea in Edwin Barr's mind. But Napoleon Hill, who wants to pass this story on to us, is that Edwin Barr turned that idea into reality. This is the first step in which you must turn your thoughts, my friend follower, into reality. The fact that it is an idea in your mind and an idea only if you don't move and strive like Edwin Barr will never turn into reality. It must turn into desire. Therefore, dear follower, he tells you that the first step is to turn an idea into a desire. It's not just a desire, it has to be a wild desire. A strong desire to turn this idea into reality. This brings me back to the story of the great philosopher Socrates. One of Socrates' students came to him and asked him to teach him how to be wise. And he said to him, well, I will teach you. We'll be at the beach tomorrow. We meet there and I will tell you how to be wise. When he came to him and they met, he said, come on, what do you think? Let's swim in the sea for a while. The student said, I don't want to swim, I want to be wise. He said, do you want wisdom? He said, yes. He said, come and show you where wisdom is. Indeed, they entered the sea, and when they reached a deep stage, Socrates took the boy and plunged him into the water so much that he almost breathed his last. When he saw him, he reached the stage of drowning. The first time the boy came out, he tried to take a long breath. He said to him, you are crazy. Why are you killing me? I told you, teach me how to become wise and not be dead. He said to him, okay, listen to me. When you were under the water and you were about to die, what was the thing you needed the most at that moment? He said to him, I needed air to breathe. He said, if your need for wisdom is the same as your need for air. When you need wisdom most, you will become wise. It is one of the most powerful and perfect phrases that conveyed to me the concept of passion and desire in a very eloquent manner. Now, let us move on to the second step, which is no less important than the previous ones. After turning the idea into reality, fantasy comes into play. Napoleon Hill gave us very important steps that we use to turn our ideas into reality. He told you the first thing, your desire and your idea should be specific. I mean, when you say I want to get rich, I would expect many of you who have gotten to this point to have a desire, even if it is very simple, to get rich, or at least to improve your financial situation. If you have a desire to be a rich person, you must determine the amount of wealth that you want. Do you want to be a person whose wealth is equivalent to $2 million, or to be a person whose wealth is equivalent to $2 billion? The difference is vast between the two. The first step in turning a desire into a plan is to be specific and put the number you want to reach as a wealth indicator. The second step is imagination. Think about what you would give for that amount. He tells you, never expect people to get rich without giving something in return. We mentioned this thing in the section in which we talked about the real wealth equation. But for you, dear follower, I will repeat the words once again. Save this conversation. Money is valuable. Put a period at the end of the line. The $1, 100 or 500 you get is a stored value in the form of an orange. For example, if an orange is worth $1, and you have $10 bills, which means you've stocked up on $10 oranges. This is the money. In order to get money, you have to have value that you offer to people, so that they give you money for the oranges you give. Money is nothing but a stored value, in the form of paper, pounds, gold or silver. After you say, for example, I want my fortune to be 100 million, you must think about what value is worth this 100 million that you give to people in order to collect these 100 million. Simpler than this example does not exist. The third step, you must set a goal in which you will achieve this wealth that you have set. This is very logical and realistic. It's a matter of saying I'm a human being with an idea and wanting to be rich. You must have a specific time to achieve this end. By the way, this is called turning desire into waste or turning a dream into a goal. And as the very great Denzel Washington says, dreams without goals will remain dreams. Then we come to the last step, which is to put in place the mechanism, the means, or the method that will lead you to this wealth, and all these steps, my follower friend, were collected by Napoleon Hill under one roof, which is the creative imagination. He told you that you must have a creative imagination. You must have this skill with which you can visualize and imagine how much wealth you have, and imagine the value you will provide to this wealth. The method or means that will lead you to this thing. If you do not have a creative imagination or the ability to imagine in an abstract way, you will not be able to turn your idea into reality. And a simple example in my mind as I sat reading Napoleon Hill's words in the room. He says that the cord of thoughts is very thin, and the easiest and quickest thing to cut is the cord of thoughts, so while you are thinking, you must be completely free of interruptions, such as phone notifications, sounds, and other interruptions. Try just sitting for an hour. Hours without any disturbance. Turn off your phone. Close the room. No sound. There is no laptop. No TV. Nothing to interrupt. You, a book and pen, try to imagine what you want to give or what you want to do. Believe me, you will have powerful brainstorming and you will come up with ideas that you have never imagined before. Your phone is the biggest calamity and the biggest thing to cut off the rope of thoughts. Do you want to think straight? Think without a phone. Think without people around you, TV, or other sources of interruption. The second reason is that you probably hate math and physics. You must love mathematics and physics because it expands your ideas and mind. Napoleon Hill said that there are two types of imagination, the ordinary imagination and the creative imagination. It means that people imagine things that already exist and are not innovative or new. But the creative imagination is that a person creates a very new idea, and whoever creates a very new idea that holds value for many people will change their lives with this creativity. Money is value. A new and innovative idea that carries a value that carries billions for you, my follower friend. Let me end this part for you with this beautiful quote. Doesn't he say that your desire should be specific and specify the number you want to reach? But I will quote the part that I liked the most. He told you that life is just an employer who gives you what you ask for. Life is a company owner who will give you what you want. You decide what salary you want. But once the salary is determined, you have to take over. You must take on the difficult task. So when you say I want my fortune to be 100 million, unlike when you say I want my fortune to be 1 million, the higher the number, the greater the task. We all know that perseverance is very important and never give up no matter what. But take this very telling story, where he was telling the story of a man who was obsessed with gold and decided that he was going to go and rent equipment to travel to an area where there was gold and start digging there and get that gold. Indeed, he went and traveled and dug and reached the raw gold in that region. And he wanted to grow up in the gold mining process. So he returned again to the town and gathered his relatives and convinced them that they were participating with him in the process of extracting gold, and they had already paid him the money, and he went to hire more equipment and a larger number of workers, and they actually started digging. About gold, he says that they started the matter of drilling, and with each meter they dug into the mine, hopes were growing more and more. He says, but with all regret, they reached a stage of despair and failure, so they gave up and said that there is no gold, and no matter how much we dig, we will never reach gold. So the man got up to determine the amount of the losses and said, it's over. What I lost is enough effort, time and money. We will be satisfied with this amount. In order to try to remedy and return the money to his relatives, he went and sold the equipment to one of the people who were in the gold area. Then, after that, he paid back the debts that he owed to his relatives. He says, and then the person who bought the equipment from the man returned, and with the utmost simplicity he went and sought the help of an excavation expert, and went to the same place where the excavation was carried out by the previous man, and began digging in the same place as the mine that the first man had dug. And he and the expert arrived at the place where they finished digging. What is funny and painful, my follower friend, is that the expert arrived 3 steps away from the place where they had finished and said, here is the gold. And the person started digging and reached very huge tons of gold. R. Darby says about the man that from that day he learned a very important lesson in life and learned to never withdraw, whatever the cost. My follower friend, after that incident, always used to repeat this phrase, I was 3 steps away from gold. I was 3 steps away from gold. Very affected, and because of this situation, the man became one of the best salesmen who ever sold insurance policies at that time. He learned from the gold mine's mistake and decided to never give up no matter what. So, my follower friend, the same thing, never quit while trying to get rich or trying to reach your dream that you want to achieve. But keep in mind one particular thing that is very important. In order to achieve success, do not look at the goal from a certain point, but rather look from several sides so as not to fall into the same error on one side. Thomas Edison says, more than 10,000 attempts have failed with me, but I did not give up and make the same mistake. In every attempt I changed the method. If you keep doing the same Thomas Edison, you will keep getting the same results you want. Therefore, continuity is very important, but repetition in the same pattern, the same style, is wrong. You must learn from the mistake you made in the past, change and try again, because Napoleon Hill used to say, when you have a plan, try to implement it, and if you fail, go back and rework the plan. Change it a bit and go back to implementing the plan, and if you fail, go back and improve the plan better and better. Try, but in a smarter and more realistic way. And Napoleon Hill mentions a very strange situation about an army commander who was leading a war, and when they reached the enemy's shore, he burned all the boats and said to them, "O soldiers, you have seen how we burned all the boats. There is no chance of us coming back alive unless we win this battle. Victory is the only option, and there is absolutely no room for withdrawal." Indeed, my friend follower, the leader won that battle. We conclude this point with the greatest quote I have seen in this book. And he said, write this quote down and keep it in your eyes always. Put the quote on the board, in the room, on the door, and everywhere. The quitter never wins and the winner never quits. And the parts I didn't explain in this book, my follower friend, were all about the subconscious mind. And the power of the subconscious, self-suggestion and external, and how you can control your subconscious mind. And because we will explain the power of your subconscious book in the future. We have come to the end of this book. Before I conclude, I would like to stress this point. Remember, my friend follower, it all starts with an idea. If your mind does not want to get rich, you will never get rich. Put the idea and turn it into an overwhelming desire. Turn this desire into a plan and never withdraw at all costs. This was the explanation of the book Think and Grow Rich by author Napoleon Hill. Do not forget to share the video with your family, friends, neighbors, and everyone who can benefit from this video. Also, liking the video encourages us to provide more and spread this video to a larger segment of people. And as I told you, my follower friend, at the beginning of the video, if you want to benefit from reading without what you read, subscribe to the channel. The dose of fun and interest for today is over, my follower friend. See you next week, God willing, with a beautiful and better dose. Thanks for listening and thanks for your invaluable time. Goodbye.